Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another filler video today, and I'm playing a different game, or at least doing something else so it's a little bit easier, because the last game I just tried doing, I recorded like almost 20 minutes of it, and it freaking crashed on me, so that's fun. Lost that footage, so now we're redoing this to a game that hopefully doesn't crash, because I did a lot of talking, and that was annoying. But anyway, we're going to talk about the Spider-Man Trilogy today, because I just recently watched all of them, and I want to talk about it. So, let's get to it. In the early 2000s, superheroes weren't what they are today. For example, with how, the whole Marvel random shit that they're doing compared to like before, pretty much. These movies are way different than the ones you would watch today. The MCU didn't exist for one. Spider-Man and Iron Man were pretty much the movies that started it all. There was no shared universe formula, the whole multiverse stuff. And then in 2002, Spider-Man hit theaters and changed everything. Directed by Sam Raimi and starred Tobey Maguire, this trilogy defined an era. It wasn't just about web slinging, it was about responsibility, sacrifice, and the cost of being a hero. When it comes to being Spider-Man throughout the games, movies, shows, and comics, it's always about the cost of being a hero. Family's gonna get affected, relationships, everyone, it's always going to go wrong in some way. This trilogy gave us iconic villains, emotional storytelling, meme-worthy moments, obviously to point out the Tobey Maguire dance and all that, and one of the greatest superhero sequels ever made, Spider-Man 2. Let's talk about why these movies still matter and what Raimi was trying to say. Now, let's go into the first movie, Spider-Man 2002. This first film is pure origin story. We meet Peter Parker, awkward, bullied, and a brilliant student. Pretty much a genuine nerd that knows a lot of things. Very great at school, goody two-shoes person, but then he gets bitten by a genetically engineered spider. He gains powers and at first uses them selfishly. And then unfortunately, later on in the movie, his uncle dies, Uncle Ben. And that's where the trilogy's core theme is born. Probably the most iconic quote that everyone knows, even if you haven't seen Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. This movie is about guilt. Peter doesn't become Spider-Man because it's cool. He becomes Spider-Man because he failed someone he loved, which is unfortunately his uncle. Now let's go into one of great villains that is still talked about today. Even the actors still talked about because of this performance. Green Goblin. William Dafoe as Norman Osborn / Green Goblin is still one of the most unhinged comic book performances ever. The Goblin isn't just evil, he's a reflection of Peter. Norman believes power justifies domination. Peter learns power requires sacrifice. It's genuinely so crazy that this movie's been out for almost 24 years, and Green Goblin and William Dafoe are still talked about because of this performance. Yeah, I know there's two other movies after this and all that, and they didn't end until 2007, but it's still genuinely insane. What? Crap. The final fight is brutal. No fancy CGI spectacle. Just two people beating each other in an alley. Raimi films it almost like a horror movie. Shaky camera, intense close-ups, raw emotion. When Norman dies, it's tragic. He's not just a villain, he's Harry's father, which is the thing that will be talked about more later on through the movies of why this death is so significant. This sets up emotional consequences that carry through the trilogy, for example, involving Harry and all that. Now we talk about Spider-Man 2, came out in 2004. This is widely considered one of the greatest superhero movies ever made. And yeah, it generally deserves it. That movie was so good. And I don't know if any sequel can... My bad. Genuinely top it. The movie is about burnout and sacrifice. Peter is exhausted, he's broke, he's failing school, he's losing MJ, he can't tell anyone who he is. So pretty much after, the upbeat of starting the Spider-Man in the first movie, and you watch the second one assuming, oh, he's just going to do the same thing again, get more powerful. No, that's actually kind of wrong. Throughout the movie, you slowly see him losing everything. He's losing his girlfriend, he's losing his powers. He even ends up giving up on Spider-Man because he feels like a failure at that point. Being Spider-Man was destroying his life. He literally loses his powers because psychologically he doesn't want the responsibility anymore. That's amazing storytelling. His powers are tied to how he's feeling, his mental state, pretty much. If he's not feeling it, then he's not gonna be good at saving people. Oh wow. Okay. And here is generally another iconic villain, Dr. Octopus, or Otto Octavius. He's not evil at heart. He's one of the villains like how Green Goblin is too. They're not evil at first. They're just changed because of this obsession of their work. Green Goblin, unfortunately, gets into the fact that his whole power basically just modifies him and makes him angry and a complete different person. Doc Ock, on the other hand, he's controlled by his mechanical arms, a metaphor for obsession. Even if his work was like failing, he didn't stop. And it got to a point that the chip that he had that was helping him got destroyed. So now he was controlled by his mechanical arms that he was supposed to be controlling himself. The hospital scene where the arms slaughter surgeons, that's straight horror. No dialogue, just chaos. They try to remove him. His arms come out and start beating the living hell out of every surgeon, pretty much almost killing all of them because of the fact that that's not him. That's them. The train C is also legendary. Practical stunts, real physical weight, and the moment where Peter stops the train and collapses into the passenger arms. Another great storytelling thing for superheroes. Then comes the best moment. Peter reveals his identity to Otto. Instead of defeating him through force, he appeals to his humanity, and then Otto sacrifices himself after it. The movie says, being a hero isn't just about winning. It's about choosing to carry the burden for other people. Genuinely a great movie. I love Spider-Man 2. But it's not my favorite. Because here comes Spider-Man 3 in 2007. I know, this movie is very controversial, and it's a very messy movie too at the same time. But there's more going on here than people give it credit for. The movie is about forgiveness and ego. Peter starts Spider-Man 3 confident, maybe a little too confident, and extremely cocky when it comes to stuff. He's praised, he's celebrated, and then the symbiote enhances his aggression. The black suit doesn't turn him evil, it amplifies what's already there. All the resentment, all the anger he's had throughout the years that he's been Spider-Man was just building up. He never showed it, and the symbiote just lets it out like nothing because the symbiote doesn't care. It relies on that. And then here's the villains when it comes to the third movie. Typically, so far, the first two have only had one villain. Well, this one, we got three. We got Sandman, Venom, and now Harry. Harry's a different story because he eventually, like how we talked about earlier, where Harry eventually will be emotionally distraught because of his father's death. Well, under the perception with the first two movies, Harry believed that Spider-Man, aka Peter Parker, killed his father. In this movie, he still believed that until one point, his butler or person that worked at his house ended up telling him Spider-Man didn't kill his father. His father killed himself. Obviously, you as the viewer know that from the first movie, that when Peter defeated Green Goblin tried to kill Spider-Man, but then his Spidey senses kicked in. He did a backflip, and Green Goblin's little hoverboard thing came in and just stabbed him right in the stomach. And Norman never wanted Peter to tell Harry the truth, no matter what, because he didn't want Harry to know the truth about him. But the church bell scene where Peter tears off the symbiote, that's another horror scene. Raimi leans fully into religious imagery, Peter screaming, literally trying to rip sin off his body. And also, the final battle isn't just physical, it's about forgiveness. Peter forgives Sandman, Harry forgives Peter because Harry finally realized that Peter didn't kill his father. And then the cycle of revenge finally ends. That's what Raimi was building towards. And the thing about going to more depth of what Sam Raimi was looking for when it came to Spider-Man and all that, he didn't want these to feel realistic in a gritty way. He leaned into melodrama, comic book framing, horror influences, and exaggerated emotion. He treated Spider-Man like a Greek tragedy. And also another thing that's really nice to know about how the movies are as well, every villain mirrors Peter in a different way. You have Green Goblin with power without morality, Doc Ock, ambition without restraint, Venom, ego without humanity, and Sandman, desperation. The trilogy isn't about defeating villains, it's about learning emotional maturity. It's very nice to understand movies when they have a deeper meaning to it and when you look into it more throughout each of the movies and all that. There's another thing that I heard about, not really recently, but before I watched all the movies, because there's a friend that I talked to about movies and all that, and he generally loves yapping to me about it. But there was going to be a Spider-Man 4. It unfortunately got canceled. Like, after Spider-Man 3, a fourth film was planned, but wasn't fully gone through with yet. Villains rumored or confirmed. You had Vulture, Black Cat, and Mysterio, which eventually came out in Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I don't know who's in there, honestly. But Raimi wasn't satisfied with the script. He didn't want to release a movie that wasn't good enough, so instead of compromising, he walked away. And then Sony rebooted the series with The Amazing Spider-Man. That decision is honestly rare in Hollywood, choosing quality over money, because you know how Hollywood is. Very freaking greedy. Genuinely. Why does the trilogy still matter to this day? Well, they made superheroes more emotionally serious instead of some goofy shit. They balanced camp and tragedy. They focused on character over spectacle. Treated Spider-Man as a burden, not a power fantasy. Tobey's Spider-Man isn't the quippiest. He's not the coolest. He's the most human. That's why the train scene still hits. That's why Uncle Ben's lesson still matters. That's why Spider-Man 2 is still studied. People love Spider-Man 2 to this day. And it came out in 2004. It's been 22 years. And people still talk about it. But also, like how most movies are, or trilogies, the Raimi trilogy isn't perfect, but it's sincere. And sincerity is rare. You have 4 different things that all 3 movies talk about. It's about guilt, sacrifice, forgiveness, and responsibility. I don't know if we'll ever get another superhero trilogy quite like it again, because it's always very, very rare for stuff like that to happen and all that. And that's why I love these movies. That's why everyone loves the movies, actually. Pretty much, it's still going to be talked about to this day. Two decades later, and still talked about. People still praise Spider-Man 2. I know Spider-Man 3, most people don't like it. That's personally, out of the trilogy, that's probably my favorite because of the fact that I love Venom and the villains that they put in the movies. And obviously, you know, Topher Grace playing Venom is pretty freaking cool. It's definitely weird when I see it. I'm like, what the hell? You got Eddie Brock in it. You got Gwen Stacy. Like, he's the one that created all these. No, he didn't create them, but he's the one that used them first out of all the stuff and all that. But anyway, I want to talk. Sorry about if I was seeming a bit quick in this video. It's because I'm still a little salty about the other recording getting compromised because of the poorly optimized game I was playing. So I might play this game more if people like it, because it's more just gameplay in the background and it's more just commentary, honestly. And I enjoy making the filler videos and all that. But anyway, hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you later. See ya.